Imagine waking up tomorrow to find $154,000 in your bank account, instantly placing you in the top 2.5% of earners, only to feel more anxious than you did when you made $40,000. A landmark study from the Financial Planning Association tracked this exact group and discovered a dark psychological paradox. The people we assume are relaxed about cash are actually trapped in a subconscious feedback loop that makes them crave more, while their actual satisfaction drops to zero. But it gets worse when you look at what this constant chase does to the human brain's reward center. Today, you will finally understand the hidden biological trap that keeps you feeling financially insecure, no matter how much your salary grows. We're going to expose the shocking reason why reaching your ultimate savings goal actually triggers a chemical crash that leaves you feeling empty. This isn't about greed. It is about a design flaw in your gray matter that Morgan Housel warns is ruining millions of lives. In the final study we will look at reveals why this mental glitch actually alters your personality, turning the most generous people into something unrecognizable. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure, the reward you feel when you finally buy that luxury car or hit your net worth goal. But neuroscience reveals a completely different story. Dopamine is actually the molecule of anticipation, not satisfaction. It floods your system while you're striving, planning, and dreaming of the goal. The moment you actually achieve the goal, the dopamine spike instantly vanishes, leaving you with a cold, chemical hangover. This is why the first day in a new house feels electric, but the 100th day feels completely ordinary. But how does this play out when your survival instincts get mixed up with modern bank accounts? This chemical drop-off feeds directly into a psychological phenomenon known as hedonic adaptation, or the moving goalpost. As your income rises, your lifestyle and expectations quickly adjust to your new normal, keeping your baseline happiness completely flat. Author Morgan Housel points out that if your expectations grow faster than your income, you will always feel poor, regardless of your net worth. You work 80 hours a week to reach a milestone, but the second you touch it, your brain instantly moves the target further away. This constant shifting isn't just frustrating, it actually alters how you view other human beings. Now, here is the part nobody talks about, and it completely flips everything we know about financial success on its head. When the Financial Planning Association compared high earners making over $154,000 to those making a median of $80,000, they expected to find peace of mind. Instead, the data showed that high earners had significantly lower money avoidance and an incredibly intense drive to accumulate even more. They did not stop to celebrate. Their financial knowledge simply became a tool to feed the endless cycle of acquisition. But what happens to the human spirit when your entire life becomes an endless math problem? The consequences of this endless pursuit go far deeper than simple stress or long hours at the office. A major study published by the National Institutes of Health on the culture of affluence exposed a terrifying trend. Youth in wealthy communities showed significantly higher rates of clinical depression, anxiety, and substance abuse compared to national averages. The researchers traced this back to two primary sources: relentless pressures to achieve and deep isolation from genuine human connection. We are sacrificing our mental health for numbers on a screen, yet we continue to defend the system. This isolation is not accidental. Wealth actually rewires how we interact with the people around us. Dr. Paul Piff, a psychologist at the University of California, Irvine, has spent years studying how money, status, and power shape human behavior. In one of his most famous experiments, Piff rigged a series of Monopoly games to give one player massive, unfair advantages from the start. As the wealthy players accumulated more play money, their behavior transformed in real time. They became louder, started taking up more physical space, and openly mocked the poorer players. But the most disturbing finding was yet to come. When the rigged Monopoly game ended, the wealthy players did not attribute their easy win to the unfair rules or sheer luck. Instead, they spent minutes explaining their brilliant strategy, fully taking credit for a victory that was predetermined by the researchers. Dr. Piff's research repeatedly demonstrates that as a person's wealth increases, their empathy and feelings of shared humanity tend to decline. They develop a sense of entitlement, believing they deserve their fortune because of their inherent superiority. But this psychological shift creates a profound trap that destroys the very thing they're trying to buy. We chase wealth because we believe it will buy us ultimate safety, absolute control, and freedom from anxiety. Yet, as Dr. Piff points out, this independence often translates into isolation because wealthy individuals no longer need to rely on their community for survival. When you do not need others, you stop paying attention to them, cutting off the exact social bonds that keep humans psychologically healthy. You trade rich relationships for a rich portfolio, only to discover that numbers cannot comfort you in an empty room. This brings us to a shocking biological realization about how our brains perceive survival. But this next study completely broke my brain, and it explains why you feel like you're never doing enough. Researchers tracking brain activity discovered that our neural pathways process financial losses using the exact same circuitry that registers physical pain. Your brain literally treats a dip in your investments or a missed financial target as a physical attack on your life. This means the drive for more is not about luxury. It is a desperate, panic-driven attempt to escape a perceived threat of death. And this primitive survival mechanism is running unchecked in a modern world where the danger is entirely abstract. This is why your next financial target is a complete mirage, a horizon line that recedes every single time you take a step forward. If you do not consciously choose what is enough, your biology will default to wanting more until the day you die. Morgan Housel emphasizes that the hardest financial skill, the most important one, is getting the goalposts to stop moving. If you do not master this skill, you remain a slave to your dopamine pathways, forever running on a treadmill that never stops. But how do we actually break this cycle without giving up on our ambition entirely? Breaking the trap requires a complete revolution in how we define the psychology of wealth. Real wealth is not about having high income. It is about having a massive gap between what you have and what you think you need. The FPA study showed that high earners often fail because their desires scale up instantly alongside their growing salaries. If you make $500,000 but feel the burning need to spend $600,000, you are functionally broke and miserable. True financial freedom is the ability to walk away from the chase because your identity is not tied to a bank balance. To start reclaiming your mind today, you must perform what psychologists call an expectation audit. Write down your current financial goals, and next to them, write down exactly how much of that goal is driven by social comparison. Ask yourself if you want that larger house because you genuinely need the space or because your neighbor just bought one. By separating your actual physical needs from your ego's endless desires, you starve the dopamine trap of its fuel. You stop letting an ancient survival mechanism dictate your modern happiness. Remember Dr. Piff's rigged Monopoly players who truly believe they won through pure talent and strategy? Do not let your brain play the same trick on you by convincing you that your self-worth is tied to your net worth. The ultimate payoff of understanding the psychology of wealth is realizing that you can step off the treadmill whenever you choose. True wealth is having absolute control over your time, deep connections with those you love, and a mind that is at peace with enough. If this video helped you see the money game clearly, hit subscribe to join us as we unpack more hidden truths about our minds.